What is payload? In context of computer networking and communications, a payload refers to the actual data sent over a network, which is the essential information that the sender wishes to transmit to the receiver. This can be distinguished from other parts of a message or data packet, which include headers and metadata used to facilitate routing, delivery, or processing of the payload, but are not part of the actual data itself. Let's talk about the key aspects of a payload. Let's just delete everything here. First, we will want to talk about data content. The payload is the main content of any data transmission, such as the body of an email, the data inside a file being transferred, or the JSON XML data sent in an API request. Number two, encapsulation. In networking, payloads are often encapsulated within headers and footers. Headers precede the payload and contain routing and operational information, while footers might contain error checking and other transmission related data. We have HTTP example. In an HTTP request or response, the payload is often referred as body and can contain anything from data and file uploads to API request parameters or document content. Let's talk about some importance in various contexts. But I would think if you ask this or you talk about if you have an interview and your interviewer asks you about what is a payload, I guess by saying that it's a payload refers to an actual data sent over a network, which is which is essential information that the sender wishes to transmit to the receiver. I guess this could be a good answer. But right now we're just trying to talk about a lot of different things. So if your interviewer asks you have a follow-up questions regarding some topics of the payload, you will be prepared for it. We want to talk about the web services. So in RESTful APIs, the payload typically includes the data sent by the client to the server in a post request, for example, such as user input or file data, and the data sent back from the server to the client in the response, such as JSON or XML data representing request resources. We have the network security as well. In security and context, the payload may carry data essential for functionality or the software, but can also carry malicious data intended to exploit vulnerabilities in the receiving system. We have emails as well. For emails, the payload include the body of the message and any attachments as opposed to headers, which would include information like the sender, receiver, subject, data routing, etc. Lastly, we want to talk about data transmission protocols. In protocols like TCP or TCP/IP, the payload is data transmitted over the network, excluding the headers added by TCP/IP itself, like IP headers, TCP headers, etc., which are used to manage the transmission. So, understanding the concept of payload is crucial for areas such as software development, networking, and cybersecurity, as it helps in designing and debugging communication protocols, developing applications that process data efficiently, and implementing security measures that protect sensitive information during data transfer. So if you are in an interview, you I guess we covered a lot of things regarding the payload. And we let's just say again, if your interviewer asks you about the payload, you will say the payload, like the request data which is present in the body part of over HTTP message, for example, is referred as a payload in RESTful web services. The payload can only be passed to the recipient through post method. We talked about this as well. So that's it for this video, and I hope you like my content. If you like my content, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you'll never miss a video, and see you in future problems.